Welcome back to the shop, everyone. This week's video takes place in 2024, week 14, April 1st through April 7th, and we are back wiring on these doors. So when we last left off, I had the main power wire from my door module kind of going over to the right and going to the main feed for the fuse panel and a few other things. And I decided that was a real dumb idea because this is only like a 30... I think the stock fuse on this was like 30 amp or something like that. And what I don't want to do is if something happens and one of the doors shorts out or that box shorts out, the only fuse protecting that main feed on the panel over on the bottom right there is the main car fuse. So if something were short out in that box, I don't want the main car fuse blowing because that would just kill everything. So I am rewiring this and I'm moving that wire around and I'm going to run it up into the top of my fuse box to a proper fused source. So if anything shorts out in that box, it'll just be a single fuse in that fuse box that shorts. The car will still working. The doors won't work, but the rest of the car will. The car's not going to blow up, anything like that. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, so I got the power wire that's going to feed the door relays as well as the power wire to feed the box itself, run into the fuse box. And now what I'm going to do is just a very real quick test with this passenger side door. So I'm just going to get the wires out and I'm just going to very loosely tie these together and just make sure that it's working and doing what I expect it to do. Of course, I'm just gonna twist the ends, and because that's a power wire, I'm just gonna tape the end, and then I'm gonna grab the power wire out of the driver's door and just tape the end as well, because I don't want to accidentally hit the wrong channel and then all of a sudden I'm shorting it out, because that would not be good. So here I am hitting the button and nothing's working, and I'm trying to figure this out, why it's not working, and then I realized, oh, the battery source was on ignition and not battery. So now with that on battery, I can hit the button, open the door, everything is working as expected. So what I'll do now is I will properly run this wire through the door, I will properly connect the two wires, and away we go. After I do this door, I will go over to the driver's side door and do the same thing. All right, so this door is wired up. When we test it here in a second, the door is not really opening as crisp as the passenger side is. It's taking like 2 clicks of the button and then it eventually opens, and I'll show you here in a second. The reason why is the entire solenoid is moving in the door, and it looks like the bolt is actually pulled through the door, so it's really not stable. Like when I hit the button, the entire solenoid moves, and that's why this isn't properly unlatching the door. So I will need to fix that for this door to fully work. All right, with that door done, I want to kind of clean up the floor. There's a bunch of mess there, but before I do that, there's some screws for mounting the fuel lines back to the car. So I'm just going to put those screws in, mount the fuel lines back up to the car, and then I can kind of clean up the area. right, so now that everything's kind of clean, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking off the driver's side header. Now, the reason why I'm taking the driver's side header back off is because there is not enough clearance around the steering shaft. So as I'm turning the wheel, the steering shaft is rubbing on the header. That's not a good thing. You don't want interference between your steering components. Like if anything happens and you lose control, like you want to be able to steer this thing without it rubbing on your header. So we're going to start pulling the exhaust off and start working on getting that header out. Well, we're at a point where the steering shaft is kind of stuck in the header. I can't quite get it out. But that is all the time we have for this video. I know it was a super short one. Don't worry, there are some super long ones that are going to be coming up. We're going to get a lot of work done. But as always, if you stuck around this long, I'd like to thank you for viewing, and we'll catch you in the next one.